Why are you still broke? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Not in a passive, defeated way, but in a way that forces you to look in the mirror and demand an answer. Most people go through life blaming everything except themselves. They say, the economy's bad, rich people got lucky, I work hard, but nothing changes. But here's the truth. Wealth has nothing to do with luck and everything to do with how you think. If you're struggling financially, it's not because of the system. It's not because of the government. It's because you have accepted a life that keeps you small. You have agreed, whether you realize it or not, to live in a way that makes wealth impossible. The way you see money, the way you handle risk, the way you spend your time, these things are either building your wealth or destroying it. Most people were never taught this. Instead, they were programmed to believe that money is hard to get, programmed to believe that success is only for a special few, programmed to believe that being comfortable is enough. But comfort is a trap. Comfort keeps you weak. Think about it. The average person wakes up, goes to work, comes home, scrolls on their phone, watches Netflix, and then complains that they don't have money. But what did they actually do to earn more? What did they learn? What skill did they improve? What risks did they take? If you live like the average person, you will get average results. And do you know what average really means? It means barely getting by. It means working just hard enough to survive, but never hard enough to escape. And that's exactly how the system wants you. They want you stuck in a cycle. They want you to wake up, go to work, pay your bills, and repeat that for 40 years. They want you to believe that working harder will solve the problem. But if hard work was the answer, every construction worker, every janitor, every factory worker would be rich. Yet they aren't. So if hard work isn't the solution, what is? It's simple. You must stop thinking like the poor and start thinking like the rich. You must stop following the rules designed to keep you broke. You must wake up and realize that nobody is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. And here's the reward for watching this video until the end. You're going to learn the exact mindset shifts that will take you from struggling to thriving. But you have to commit. Most people won't. They'll watch a few minutes, get distracted, and go back to their old habits. But the ones who stay, the ones who truly listen, they will be the ones who change their lives forever. So now the real question is, are you ready to escape, or will you stay exactly where you are? The choice is yours. For years, you've been told a lie so powerful that it's kept millions of people trapped in financial struggle. And the worst part, you probably believe it too. What's the lie? That making money is hard. Think about it. Since childhood, you've been told that money comes from one place, hard work. You've been told that if you want to be rich, you need to get a good job, save your money, and slowly build wealth over decades. But let me ask you something. How many people do you know who followed this advice and became rich? Exactly. The system doesn't want you to be rich. It wants you to work, to obey, to stay in line. It teaches you to trade your time for money instead of your skills for wealth. But here's the truth. Making money is not about working harder. It's about thinking smarter. Look at the wealthiest people in the world. Do they work harder than everyone else? No, they work differently. They leverage opportunities. They create systems that generate money while they sleep. They build networks. They invest. But the average person, they trade their most valuable asset, time, for a paycheck that barely covers their expenses. They live paycheck to paycheck, believing that if they just work a little harder, one day things will change. But they won't, because the game is rigged. If you want to escape, you must unlearn everything you've been taught about money. You must stop thinking like a worker and start thinking like an owner. You must stop playing by the rules that were designed to keep you weak. The truth is, wealth is not reserved for a select few. It's available to anyone willing to change how they think and act. But most people won't. They'll keep working, keep struggling, and keep wondering why nothing changes. So ask yourself, will you keep believing the lie, or will you wake up and take control? Your future depends on your answer. If making money isn't about working harder, then what is it really about? It's about value. Think about the richest people in the world. What do they all have in common? They don't just work for money. They create things that the world finds valuable. They build businesses, develop skills, and offer solutions that people are willing to pay for. But here's the harsh truth. Most people are too afraid to do that. They're afraid of failing, afraid of judgment, afraid of stepping outside the system they've been conditioned to obey. They want security, a stable paycheck, a predictable life. And that's exactly why they stay broke. Because security is an illusion. If you have a job, you're one decision away from losing everything. Your boss can replace you, the company can shut down, the economy can crash, and suddenly that safe paycheck is gone. Wealth doesn't come from safety. It comes from risk. Every successful person you admire had to step into the unknown. They had to take a chance, start from zero, and figure things out as they went. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't ask if it was the right time. They made the time right. So if you're waiting for the perfect moment to start your journey to wealth, wake up. That moment will never come. The only way to get rich is to start. Start learning new skills. Start building something of your own. Start taking risks while everyone else plays it safe. Because if you don't, one day you'll wake up and realize that life passed you by. You'll see others winning, others succeeding, and you'll wonder why it never happened for you. The answer? You never chose to change. So, will you keep making excuses, or will you take control? Why do some people seem to attract money while others struggle their entire lives? It all starts with mindset. Poor people think about survival. Rich people think about growth. Most people are programmed to believe that money is hard to get, that success is reserved for the lucky, that working more hours equals more income. But this is a lie, a trap designed to keep you small, dependent, and controlled. But wealthy people don't trade time for money. They multiply money. They see opportunities where others see obstacles. They invest while others hesitate. They focus on what they can gain instead of what they might lose. But here's what stops most people: limiting beliefs. They think they're not smart enough. They think they weren't born into the right family. They think money is evil, or that getting rich means taking from others. These thoughts will just keep you broke. They make you a slave to the system. So how do you break free? You have to rewire your brain for wealth. You have to replace fear with confidence, doubt with action, and hesitation with bold moves. Every successful person started with nothing. The only difference? They believed it was possible and acted on that belief. If you want to get rich, start training your mind to think like the rich. Stop seeing money as something you work for and start seeing it as something you control. Because the moment you shift your mindset, money starts chasing you instead of the other way around. Most people never get rich because they can't handle the truth about money. Here's the truth. Money doesn't care about you. It doesn't care if you work hard, if you struggle, or if you dream of a better life. Money follows value, not effort. You can work 12-hour shifts, break your back, and still stay broke. Meanwhile, someone else makes millions with a single idea. Why? Because they understand the game of money. The system has lied to you. It tells you to get good grades, go to college, get a stable job, and retire at 65. But look around. Does that path lead to wealth? No. It leads to debt, stress, and wasted time. Rich people play by a different set of rules. They own assets, they leverage other people's time, and they use money to make more money. They don't just save, they invest. They don't just work, they build systems. If you're waiting for someone to give you permission to get rich, you've already lost. No one is coming to save you. The government won't save you. Your boss won't save you. Even your family can't save you. Only you can change your financial future. You have to stop seeing money as a mystery and start seeing it as a tool. A tool that, if used correctly, can buy you freedom, power, and control over your own life. Because the truth is simple. Either you master money or money masters you. Why do most people stay broke, no matter how hard they work? Because they're trapped in a cycle. They trade their time for money, paycheck to paycheck, never getting ahead. They think working harder will make them rich, but it never does. Here's why. Time is limited. No matter how many hours you work, there's a ceiling. You can't work 50 hours a day. But the rich don't trade time for money. They trade value for money. They build systems that make money while they sleep. If you want real wealth, you need to break free from the paycheck mentality. That means stop thinking like an employee, start thinking like an owner. Stop waiting for permission to make money. Start creating something valuable that the world wants. The system wants you to stay dependent on a job, on a fixed income, on security that isn't even real. But the rich? They create their own income. They build multiple streams of money. They invest. They take risks. The harsh truth? If you're still relying on a paycheck, you're playing a losing game. Your time is being bought at a discount by people who know how to leverage money. The only way out is to own something, a business, investment, skills that people will pay for. The moment you stop selling your time and start selling value, your entire life will change. Because real wealth isn't about working more hours. It's about making money work for you. If you lost your job today, how long would you survive? Most people wouldn't last a month because their income depends on one source, a paycheck controlled by someone else. That's dangerous. That's weak. The rich never allow themselves to be at the mercy of a single paycheck. They develop high income skills. Skills that pay them no matter where they are, no matter what happens. Skills that put them in control. So ask yourself, what can you do that is valuable enough to make people pay you right now? If you don't have an answer, that's the first problem. The world rewards problem solvers. The more problems you can solve, the more money you will make. Learn to sell. Sales drive everything. The ability to persuade is a weapon. Master digital skills. The internet has leveled the playing field. If you're not online making money, you're leaving cash on the table. Develop leadership. People follow strength. The more people you can lead, the more power you have. Money flows to value creators, not workers. If you're only following orders, you're replaceable. But if you can create, innovate, or lead, money will chase you. Think about it. The highest paid people in the world don't clock in and out. They build systems. They use their skills to create opportunities. They get paid based on results, not hours. So stop wasting time on skills that don't pay. Stop thinking like an employee. Learn the skills that will make you rich. Because the world pays people who can bring value, not people who just follow the rules. Why do some people get rich while others stay broke? It's not just about working hard. Millions of people work hard their entire lives and still struggle. The real difference is how they think. The poor think about survival, how to pay the next bill, how to make it through the month. The rich think about growth, how to multiply money, how to create opportunities, how to make money work for them. Money is not just something you earn, it's a tool. The poor trade time for money. The rich use money to buy freedom, leverage, and control. The poor say, I can't afford this. The poor fear risk. The rich understand calculated risks lead to massive rewards. The poor chase comfort. The rich embrace discomfort because they know that's where real growth happens. Look at the people around you. Most of them think small. They talk about saving pennies, about playing it safe. But you will never get rich by playing not to lose. You get rich by playing to win. You need to start thinking like the rich do. Start seeing money as a tool. Instead of focusing on cutting expenses, focus on expanding your income. Instead of being afraid of risk, learn to manage it. Instead of working for money, learn to make money work for you. If you can shift your mindset, everything else will follow. Because the way you think determines the way you live. If you want to be rich, you need to ask yourself one question. What can I do that the world will pay me a fortune for? Most people trade their time for money at a fixed rate. They work a job, earn a paycheck, and stay trapped in a cycle where their income is limited by their hours. The rich break this cycle by mastering high-income skills, skills that allow them to charge premium prices, create multiple income streams, and escape the rat race. A high-income skill is something that has massive demand in the marketplace, solves big problems for businesses or individuals, isn't easily replaceable by automation or cheap labor. Think about skills like sales, copywriting, digital marketing, investing, public speaking, coding, and branding. These skills are worth thousands of dollars per hour because they generate massive value. The world rewards those who bring results, not those who just show up and follow instructions. If you're stuck in a low-paid job, it's not because the world is unfair. It's because you haven't developed a skill that commands high pay. The good news? You can start today. The internet has given you access to more knowledge than any generation before you. You can learn sales, master investing, or build a digital business, all from your phone or laptop. But here's the catch. Most people never take action. They watch videos, read books, but never apply what they learn. Action is the separator. The rich are not necessarily smarter. They just execute faster. You don't need a degree. You don't need permission. You just need to pick a high-income skill, dedicate yourself to mastering it, and start creating wealth on your own terms. Because when you control your skills, you control your income. And when you control your income, you control your life. What if everything you've been taught about money is a lie? Since childhood, you were told to work hard, save money, and retire at 65. But who benefits from that? Not you. The system trains you to exchange your time for money, keeping you just comfortable enough to never question the game you're playing. Look around. The wealthiest people don't trade time for money. They buy time, they build systems, invest in assets, and create businesses that make money while they sleep. They understand a truth that most never realize. Time is the real currency. Think about it. The average person works 40+ hours a week for 40 years, hoping to save enough to retire. But what if you could collapse time? What if you could make in a year what others make in a lifetime? That's what the rich do. They focus on leverage. They use other people's time, hiring teams, outsourcing, other people's money, investments, business funding, other people's knowledge, mentors, courses, masterminds. They multiply their results without multiplying their effort. They don't just work harder, they work smarter. The problem is most people are addicted to comfort. They fear risk, so they stay in jobs that barely cover their bills. They trade their freedom for a paycheck, never realizing that time is slipping away. You need to wake up. Every second wasted is time you will never get back. The only way to escape is to start now. Build skills, create assets, take risks, because the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. Money can always be made back, but lost time? That's gone forever. If you had to start from zero today with no connections and no money, how would you escape the system? The answer is simple. Master a high-income skill. The wealthy don't rely on jobs. They create value that people are willing to pay for at a premium. They know that the world rewards skills, not effort. Yet most people waste years working hard at jobs that barely keep them afloat instead of investing in skills that could make them financially free. Ask yourself, what can you do right now that someone would pay $10,000 for? If the answer is nothing, that's your problem. The marketplace doesn't care how hard you work. It only cares about how valuable you are. High singular skills separate the rich from the average. They allow you to charge what you're worth, control your time, and escape the paycheck to paycheck cycle. These skills include sales and persuasion. The ability to sell anything, products, ideas, or yourself will make you unstoppable. Copywriting. Words sell. If you can write words that make people take action, you will never be broke. Investing and trading, the rich don't just earn money, they multiply it. They make money work for them. Marketing and branding, the ability to capture attention and influence people is one of the most powerful skills in the digital age. The key is to specialize. Too many people try to learn everything, but the real money is in mastery. Pick one skill, get insanely good at it, and become irreplaceable. Once you have a high-income skill, you no longer need to beg for opportunities. You create them. You control your income, your time, and your future. The system loses its grip on you because now you have leverage. And when you have leverage, you play by your own rules. Why do most people stay broke their entire lives? It's not because they lack intelligence or effort. It's because they've been programmed to trade time for money. From childhood, society conditions people to believe that working a steady job is the only way to survive. Go to school, get a degree, find a safe job, work until retirement. That's the script handed to everyone. But that script was never designed to make you rich. Jobs keep you in a cycle of dependency. You work for a set number of hours, receive a fixed paycheck, and repeat the process indefinitely. You're not paid for your value. You're paid just enough to keep you from quitting. That's not freedom. That's modern slavery. The rich understand something different. Money is made through ownership, not labor. Think about it. The wealthiest people in the world don't work hourly jobs. They own assets that generate income for them. Businesses, real estate, stocks, digital products, intellectual property. If you're stuck in the paycheck mentality, you're selling your time instead of owning your future. The problem? Your time is limited, but your earning potential isn't if you play the game correctly. So how do you break free? Stop thinking like an employee. Start thinking like an owner. Create multiple income streams. Never rely on a single paycheck. The more ways you make money, the harder it is for anyone to control you. Build something that works for you. A business, a brand, an investment portfolio. Something that makes money even when you're asleep. Leverage other people's time and skills. The rich don't do everything themselves. They hire, delegate, and scale. Escaping the paycheck mentality is about shifting your mindset from survival to domination. You weren't meant to spend your life chasing a paycheck. You are meant to build wealth, to control your time, and to live on your own terms. Once you understand this, the game changes forever. If you had to start from nothing today, no money, no connections, how would you become rich? Most people would panic, but the truth is, money follows skill. If you develop the right skills, wealth becomes inevitable. The world doesn't reward effort. It rewards value. The more valuable you are, the more money you command. That's why high-income skills are the ultimate weapon. They allow you to print money on demand without needing a boss, a degree, or permission from anyone. So what are high-income skills? These are abilities that solve problems people are willing to pay for, skills that make businesses more money, skills that generate results. Here are a few examples. Sales and persuasion. If you can sell, you will never be broke. Every business survives on sales, and people will pay fortunes for those who can close deals. Copywriting and marketing. Words sell. If you can write in a way that makes people buy, you become a money-making machine. Investing and trading. Learning how to multiply money is the fastest way to escape the rat race. Tech and automation. Businesses want results, and they'll pay big money for those who can provide solutions through coding, AI, or automation for sure. Tony. If you can find the most sexy tools for a sexy or frontier, collecting data. Now here's the secret. You don't need all of them. Mastering just one high-income skill is enough to change your life. Think about it. If you can make $10,000 a month using a skill, you're no longer dependent on a job. You can work when you want, set your own prices, and scale up as much as you want. The biggest mistake people make? They spend years in school learning outdated knowledge instead of mastering a skill that actually makes money. If you're serious about getting rich, stop focusing on wages and start focusing on value. Learn a skill, sharpen it, and use it to build financial freedom. That's how you take control. Most people are trapped in a system where they exchange time for money. They work an hourly job, get a fixed salary, and hope for a raise. But here's the truth. Trading time for money will never make you rich. Think about it. If your income is tied to your hours, there's a limit to how much you can earn. Even if you work 24/7, there's a ceiling on your money. The rich don't trade time, they trade value. They build systems, businesses, and investments that make money while they sleep. So, how do you escape this trap? You must shift your mindset from worker to owner. Stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like an investor. Here's how. Leverage skills, not time. Instead of being paid by the hour, charge for results. The more impact you create, the more you earn. High-income skills allow you to work once and get paid repeatedly. Build income streams. The rich don't rely on one paycheck. They have multiple sources of income, businesses, investments, digital assets. The goal is to make money even when you're not working. Use other people's time and money. Wealthy people don't do everything themselves. They hire, delegate, and use capital to scale their earnings. The faster you understand this, the quicker you escape the rat race. If you're stuck working paycheck to paycheck, it's time to change the game. Stop trading hours and start building wealth. Once you break free from the time for money trap, the path to financial freedom becomes unstoppable. Everything you've learned so far leads to this moment, the final shift, the decision to stop being average and start playing the game like the wealthy. Most people will hear this and do nothing. They'll go back to their routine, their 9 to 5, their paycheck to paycheck cycle. But a few will take action. A few will wake up and realize that success isn't an accident, it's a choice. You must reprogram your mind for absolute dominance. No more excuses, no more waiting. The world doesn't reward hesitation, it rewards action. If you want to escape the system, you must commit. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. Drop the fear. The biggest difference between the rich and the poor isn't money, it's courage. The rich take risks. They fail, they learn, and they rise again. Discipline over motivation. Motivation is temporary, discipline is permanent. Success doesn't care how you feel, it only responds to what you do. Outwork everyone. The secret ingredient? Relentless effort. The ones who make it are the ones who refuse to stop. You don't need permission to be great, you just need to decide. The system is designed to keep you weak, dependent, and trapped. But you hold the key, you can break free, you can take control, and once you do, nothing will ever stop you again. So now, the question is simple. Are you going to stay where you are, or are you going to rise and claim what's yours? The choice is yours, but only action will change your life.